Hey there, just want to show you real quick how to filter data and what it means to filter data in Colab. So you can see on my screen here the filter data example Colab notebook, and notice in this example we'll filter a data set based on a condition. So if you imagine like an air filter or a water filter, right, what's that doing? Setting up a mesh, and then bunch of stuff like a bunch of air or water flows through that mesh. Some of the stuff gets through, some of the stuff doesn't. That's kind of what we're doing with when we filter a data set, is we have a condition or a question we're asking, and things will get things will get look at that, I made an extra, oh no, things will make it through our filter based on whether they satisfy this condition or not. So let's just see what that looks like here. So as before, you'll need to load the data. If I run this, I can see that file not found, error, so I just need to reload my data again here. You'll find yourself doing this data reload thing a lot. Sorry about that, but that's just kind of how it works on Colab. Another time maybe we'll get into data by URL rather than a file, so you won't have to keep reloading it. But there we go, there's my rows of data. And if I'm going to filter data, basically the filtered data is a new list that only has some of the things in my original list. So in this case, I want to filter all of the skyscrapers that are in the city called Rochester. So my filtered list will be a shortened list, and it'll just have all the rows representing skyscrapers in the city of Rochester. So right now I have 2,000 rows in my data set, and when I run this, I think we know there's 9. Yeah, there's 9 cities in Rochester, 9 skyscrapers in Rochester, right? And so once I do this filtering algorithm, I'll have a list with just 9 rows in it, and each row will have all the skyscraper information for just those 9 for one skyscraper, and there'll be 9 rows. So it'll be all the information just for each of the 9 skyscrapers in Rochester. All right, so to do this, let's look at the code to do this real quick. I'll create a new list called filter and initialize it as an empty list. That's how we do that in Python with this line of code right here. Again, classic for loop, iterating over all the rows in my list. And for each one, I'll create a new variable called city and store in it the city that I get out of the row. And then if the city is equal to Rochester, then we do this line of code right here, filtered.append parentheses row. So filtered, what does that mean? That's just the variable name for the list that I created. Again, I could name this Bob, but I have to call this Bob too. Bob's not a very useful name, so I'll name it filtered. Other useful names might be like Rochester or something like that. So filtered.append, append means to add something onto the end of a list. So filtered.append means take the list filtered, we're going to add something to the end of the list, and what are we going to add? We're going to add this row, the row that I'm currently looking at in my loop. And why this one? Because this is one where the city equaled Rochester. This condition evaluated to true, and so I want to add it to my filtered list. And then we can print, once we're done with the loop here, let's print there are length filtered skyscrapers in Rochester. So again, we have an F string here, so I have the F at the beginning of the string, and then I'm using curly braces inside my string, and inside those curly braces, I have a Python expression that Python will evaluate and insert right into the string for me, so I don't need to do all that funky string concatenation, data type, string int stuff. It just does it automatically here. So there are 9 skyscrapers in Rochester because my list filtered is 9 items long. And then I have a simple, another simple list here for F in filtered, print F. So take my list filtered, for each item in the list, print it. And this is just sort of a shortcut way of a common sort of shortcut when you're doing something really simple with a list is just you create this variable with a name that's just the first letter of your list. Or maybe we could do for item in filtered print item. That would work the same way, right? Now look at this error here. Look, name filtered is not defined. What? I thought I did define it right up here. So here's the thing, and here's one more thing with Colab. You can't just start running code at the bottom of the page. It depends on this code up here having already been run. So I already did import my data. I have to run this to populate the filtered list. If I don't run this second code block, but I go ahead and run this third code block, filtered hasn't been created yet. So now I can run this third code block, and there's my 9 skyscrapers in the great city of Rochester, New York. I assume it's New York. All right, that's it. That's how you filter a list in Colab.